So we are live. I hope we're live. It says we're live. Hopefully you can hear me. Let's check. I probably should check that first, shouldn't I? Sound settings. Looks like it's live. Okay, so you can just let me know if you can hear me. Or if you can't hear me and I'm just like a puppet, something that's not talking, let me know. Anyway, hi everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Magic Monday with Faye. It is is today the last Monday? I don't actually know. Is today the last Monday of August? I think it might be. Hang on, I have to actually look at it. It is. It is the last Monday of August. Wow. Um, hard to believe. Hard to believe. Hands up if you are a person who feels like, okay, there's two things I want to ask. Are you a person who feels like the end of August is the end of summer? Because it's really easy for me to feel that way because where I live, school goes from September to the end of June. So you have July and August. And so then September is fall and August is the end of summer. But it's actually not true because it's actually going to be summer for almost a whole other month. And no need to rush. No need to rush things. So, are you a person who feels like the end of August is the end of summer? Tell me. And then, secondly, if you've followed me for any amount of time, you know that I'm a person who feels like September is way more of a new year than January. Also, I just think we have the whole calendar thing wrong in a million ways. One of them being that we have like like New Year's resolutions come in January. January is like the dead of winter. It's been winter for like a week by the time that we're setting New Year's resolutions. And in winter, that's not when you're supposed to be getting into a bunch of crazy action. It's not what happens in winter. So I'm already redefining what the seasons mean. So might as well go for it here, which is I declare that September is New Year's because that was a lot of years we spent in school. And so it always felt like September was like a time for change, time for something new, time to learn and grow. Are you those people too? Tell me. As always, if you're here, let me know. Don't be a lurker. I mean, you can be a lurker if you want. It's just, I think it's not as much fun because then I can't say thank you to you and talk to you live in real time. So if you are here, just type it and tell me in the comments so I can shower you with, camaraderie and friendship and gratitude for being here with me. So it's the tail end of August, last sort of week of August, and I don't know about you guys, but I have not done all the things that I wanted to do this summer, and I was really committed to having this summer be super fun, with lots of outside time, and like specific things I really wanted to do. I wanted to do a lot of paddling, a lot of either in a kayak or on a paddleboard, both of which I own. And I live on an island surrounded by water with a bunch of lakes, so it's really not challenging for me to find the places to do this. And I hardly did it at all, right? So, like, I am just now really feeling, and this is so familiar to me, I'm just now feeling the way I often do, which is I kind of wait to the last minute and then I feel like the urgency or the scarcity of running out of time or the thing is going away. And so then I have to like jump in, right? So this is a very familiar pattern for me. Is this a thing that you do too? I don't think I'm the only one. I mean, I know I'm not the only one. There's 8 billion people on the planet. But, well, that's Pongo. He's looking for trouble. He's probably going to go get in a dogfight through the fence. That's how it's going over here. So can you relate to that where like you have all these things you want to do? They might be things you want to achieve, but they might not be, they don't have to be grandiose. They could be like, I want to get up early and sit outside with my coffee instead of scrambling through my morning. I want to take the dogs for a walk around the block before I sit down in front of a computer. These are like probably all things that are on my list. What are some of you? So just so I don't feel alone, put some of yours, put them in the chat. Like whatever it is. So sometimes it's, for your well-being. Sometimes it's like something you want to get handled around the home, like a chore or something like that. And sometimes there are things like you just really want to experience or do. So for me, like there were a lot of summery things that I wanted to do to make sure that I got outside and had a lot of fun because it's been a tough year. And the reality is that I didn't make a lot of those things happen because life is full for all of us. And, like responsibilities mount and things can feel challenging and tricky. And so it's easy to kind of let the time slide by and slip past and not like dive into doing those things that we really wanted to do or we set out to do. And then how do you feel about it? Probably like disappointed, maybe discouraged. You might feel like shame or blame at yourself, like, geez, what's wrong with me? Or how come I couldn't? Or I'm so lazy. That's a huge one for me. I'm constantly enforcing the belief that I'm lazy. And the reality is that like life is full. There's a lot of things demanding our time and attention. And priorities shift all the time, especially when we're not being super clear and intentional about them, right? Like, it's easy for me to push aside some of the things I wanted to do because they were, I could call them like light and fluffy. They're just things I want to do for fun. And there's other things that were more serious that needed to be done, that had to be handled, right? More like grown-uppy responsibilities. And so it's easy for me to shove the fun stuff out and push myself to just work really hard and work longer, work harder. And there's a problem with this. Well, there's many, first of all. But like one of the big problems with this is that at the end of the day, you're leaving yourself feeling dissatisfied. And I'm going to show you like a quick cycle of how this works for me. So when I'm like not taking care of my well-being, and that can look a million ways, it's like a snowball. So it builds momentum as it rolls down the hill. And so because I have all these things I'm trying to do, and because I'm not really managing and structuring my time so that I make sure that I have accounted for and structured time in for things like going paddleboarding, going kayaking, like just being outside, swimming, like fun things that I'd like to do over the summer, at the end of the day, I'm going to stay up really late. I'm going to stay up really late, probably just with stupid TV on, or I might like have the TV on while I'm working on a project, right? So lately what that's looked like is me trying to work in my office because I've been trying to repaint the walls and change the furniture around. And it's kind of a big job. It turned out to be a bigger job than I thought it was going to be. And so all of a sudden I'm staying up later because I'm trying to like eke some satisfaction out of the day. Like, hands up if you set projects or goals for yourself and even when you're trying to chunk them into small enough pieces, they still end up being kind of like a pretty big bite to chew, or like it still wasn't really small enough. So if you tend to be like, okay, things I need to do today are this, this, and this, and then at the end of the day, you're checking off one, maybe two of them, but not all three, or maybe you didn't even really make a lot of progress in that one thing. I mean, first of all, one way to find more satisfaction in our lives is to notice if you're not checking stuff off the list, we need to be curious. Like, well, what's getting in the way? Did you sit down to do it? Like, I mean, that's probably one good answer. Well, I didn't actually try at all. Well, there you go. But I think a lot of the time what happens instead is that the thing that you've set out to do was likely not broken down small enough so that you could achieve it in small bits, right? So the way I think about this is like, look, you could eat a whole watermelon, but you can't eat it in one bite. You can't even eat that watermelon in two bites. You're gonna need a knife. You're gonna need a plate. You're not, I mean, I actually read somewhere this summer that you shouldn't eat that. Like, you shouldn't eat a whole watermelon in one sitting anyway. That's probably common sense, but as someone who boasts that I can eat a lot of watermelon, it was important for me to read this. They did say it's not good to eat that much of any one thing, not just watermelon. It's not that watermelon is bad for us. Thank goodness. But the reality is that just like that watermelon, our tasks need to be cut into these really small pieces. And the problem is, as you've grown up and gotten taller and more responsible and have more things that you manage, you think that you can handle more. And you probably can. You probably can. I probably can too. But we make the mistake of like putting the task on the to-do list, but we don't break that task down. And it's very likely, if you're someone like me, and I think that's a lot of people, you're likely not going to Well, we're running to the door. Um, you're likely not giving yourself the grace of being very realistic with what that task is, what it's going to entail, how much time it's actually going to take you to do it. And so, what you're doing is setting yourself up to be disappointed in yourself, discouraged about what you need to take on, right? And really probably dissatisfied overall in life. Because if you have, I mean, even one day, if you're working on something and you can't seem to get enough headway on it, if you don't feel like you're making progress, that's very frustrating. That's a challenging place to be. And if you have a whole bunch of days like that, it can kind of eat away at you. It has you feeling less effective. It has you feeling less accomplished. It has you feeling less able, less like, there's a word here. Oh, thank you for bringing me that sharp toy and putting it directly on my foot. Right? It just has you feel less confident really in yourself, and that's not a great way to be. And so you go through life built on a series of days where you have set yourself up to not be able to achieve what you've got on your to-do list because like probably almost no one could. You know, like rewrite website copy will be, I'm using a genuine example. Rewrite website copy would be like a thing on my to-do list. Well, which page, bae? Like, that's a lot of work to do. And generally speaking, I don't know about you, but my to-do list is kind of this like aspirational list that doesn't usually take into account the things that I have on my plate that day, like the things I actually have on the go. So if I have, you know, a full day of client calls or meetings or things like appointments, things to do with the forge, I'll still have the same to-do list as if I had an empty day. Actually, that's a lie. That's a lie. I'm going to come clean. So, on a day where I have a totally empty day, I'll fill that to-do list with even more things. But it was already unreasonable when I only made that list shorter, right? So like for example, um, write the website copy could be like draft my about me page. That's one very small piece of an overall large task, but I leave it really wide open for myself. One, because I think I should, I think part of it is because I think I should probably already have it done, and I don't. So I feel embarrassed or ashamed or discouraged or whatever it is. And I feel the urgency of like needing to get it done. So I'm pushing and pushing and pushing, trying to get these things done. And because I'm not getting enough done, because literally no one could, because remember, my to do list is impossible, then at the end of the day, I don't feel like I've earned, you know, fun. I don't get to go out and go do the fun thing I wanted to do because I didn't get enough done. This is like you have to finish your homework before you go out and play, or you have to finish your vegetables before you have dessert. And so it's just really old thinking. It's a context that's very familiar to me. I'm positive it's familiar to you too. Do you have some version of this? Like, I can't have fun until I do XYZ. Like, chores have to be done, then I can have fun. That could be, it rhymes. So there we go. Little mnemonic. Um, and so then I'm going to sit at home as the glorious summer days go rolling by, and I'm not going out and not doing the fun things I want to do. And it's not the end of the world. I mean, I could change this at any point. And if I want to go swimming or kayaking or stand up paddleboarding, it's not that I can't do them other times of the year, but there's a reason I really like to do them in the summer, right? When it's hot and sunny. And hands up if you are a person who has spent a whole bunch of beautiful summer days inside working on things. I think it's you too. I think it's a lot of us. Again, there's just a lot being asked of us. And if you have kids, like that thing is amplified. That list is amplified. And I mean, parents have like superpowers in their ability to make space for time. They get so many things done. But traditionally, what I notice with every parent I know is that they are very likely going to meet all of their responsibilities and the needs and desires of their families, like especially their kids, but they're very likely going to put themselves on the back burner. So what they want, that might not even make it on the list. And then we wonder why an entire season goes by and we're feeling beleaguered or tired or dissatisfied. Like, I didn't have a very good summer. I didn't get to do enough fun things. And now we're going to head into September, and September's going to be crazy. Kids are back in school, right? Like, everyone's back from their holidays. So all those things that slowed down over the summer are going to pick up in September. And so I think it's a really common place to be. which then leaves us with this kind of like low grade dissatisfaction in life. One, because you're not getting to do enough of the things you love to do. And then two, because you're not creating enough satisfaction from getting to check things off your list, because it's impossible to check things off your list. They're too big. You're trying to eat every watermelon in one bite. And then we just go through life with this kind of like low grade, disappointment in ourselves, disappointment in the season, disappointment in, whatever's going on. And so the good news is this is easily fixable. Like, one thing is just to make sure that your to-do list is reasonable. If you have a full day of appointments or meetings, it's very likely you're not going to have time to do the 16 things on your to-do list. Maybe you'll have room to do one. Maybe. But I bet the one thing that's on your at the top of your list isn't even one thing. I bet it's like this huge thing that probably needs to be broken down into like 4 or more steps. And if you broke it down in that way, you would get to have a little sense of accomplishment, a little sense of like, I did a thing, I achieved what I said I was going to do. You feel satisfied, you feel more fulfilled. And that builds your confidence. That has you feel more satisfied in your day-to-day life. So, you know, one thing, if you're feeling dissatisfied, is figure out what's missing, not what's wrong. We spend too much time in the question of what's wrong. This is wrong. You're wrong. My relationship's wrong. Things are wrong. There's a problem. That's not usually helpful. It tends to dig us in more. But if we spent more time in like, there is something missing from my life. It's the same if you're making food, right? Have you ever made soup from scratch? If not, you're about to learn something. It takes a shocking amount of salt to make soup taste good. It takes more salt than you want to put in. But as you're eating, while you're cooking, you're tasting it and you're like, it's missing something. It's missing some flavor. It's missing some spice. It's missing some salt, usually. It's usually salt, right? And because that's going to enhance every other flavor. And so what if we looked at our life in that same way? Like, I got 1 week left of August. What would I do this week if I didn't want to have that sense of something's missing? Or what is missing? For me, it's going out, being in the ocean, being near the ocean, being on the ocean, paddling, right? Having some fun, not being inside my house all evening long, trying to catch up on work that I didn't get done during the day because that list was not realistic, right? So, one, figure out what's missing. Make a list. There's probably multiple things. In this case, it's salt, but it might be like pepper, maybe some chili powder. I don't know. Whatever's missing. You got to figure out what's missing. And then you have to figure out how to put some of these things in. Well, if you were going to be a stand for your well-being the same way you stand for everyone else getting what they want and need, how would you ensure that you're doing this thing? So for example, I have tomorrow off. It's one of the few days off I've had off all summer long. Shame on me. And Adam didn't realize that day was booked off for myself. He just saw empty space and he booked 2 things in it. And I could have said, oh, fine, there's no room to do these things. I guess I'll do it. And instead I said, no, like that is a day off. I can't spend that time doing stuff. I really need to have that time off. So you need to decide what's missing, put it in, and then like honor it. You need to stand for it. So do whatever you need to do to make sure you can do that thing. Then the next part is to take your to-do list, cut it in half again, and then cut those in half. And those are the size tasks you want to be taking on. That's how you're going to feel like you're making any headway. So you're going to make it so that these tasks are so small that you might feel sheepish, you might feel silly, you might feel like you're really being irresponsible or childish breaking something down that small. And I promise you that this is how you're going to win. This is how you're going to finish your day feeling like you're actually accomplishing something. This is how you're going to build some confidence and trust in yourself. Because the other problem is when we have these huge to-do lists, these impossible tasks that we think we can do like Superman in one jump, and we're not Superman, so we can't. You erode your trust in yourself slowly and surely, and that eats away at your confidence. And then you're going to feel even more so like you have to stay home, you have to do more work, you have to fill in the blank with whatever chore needs to be done before you go fill your tank. So make that to-do list really, really small. It can be a long to-do list, but the items on it need to be broken down really, really small. And then make sure you're actually setting aside the time and space to fit in the things that are missing, the things that would have life feel more fulfilling and more satisfying. Cool? Let me know how it goes. Let me know what giant tasks you've been trying to check off with one to-do item and how you're going to break it down. And let me know what you're doing to celebrate the final week of August. What summery funtivities do you have planned? Let me know, put it in the chat, and I'll talk to you really soon. Ciao for now.